Okay. Now, like yo-yos and cold sores, if you leave it long enough, eventually hot rodding's going to come back. And right now, hot rodding is on the way back in Australia. And it's not, see, well, how good is that? Fantastic, fantastic. And recently, we were given the opportunity to drive what is, without a doubt, the greatest hot rod ever designed and conceived. And this thing carried off every award in America and across the world, in fact. And the amazing thing is, you'll never guess where it was built. Street rodding is essentially the creative expression of the world's suburban backyarders. People with the imagination, the patience and the drive to build something quite extraordinary. But the irony of all this is that the greatest street rod ever built wasn't built in some bloke's back shed. It was actually built by a huge car manufacturer. And it was built in Australia. The Effigy is a fully functioning concept car, designed and built by Holden in Melbourne. It's a one-off tribute to the 1953 FJ Holden, and you'll never see another one like it. Now, the thing about concept cars is that normally they look forward. They seek to make a statement about what that car maker's doing. But this looks back 50 years. But the more impressive thing about it is you can drive it. And they're going to let us. Today. This is the very first time this $3 million Effigy has been driven on a public road in Australia.
Yeah. Hi, Australia, don't mind.
And the bloke next to me is Chief Designer Richard Filazzo. He seems a bit edgy. It drives surprisingly well, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
It's amazing. Huh?
Yeah. A bit closer to the curb there, mate.
Yeah, righto. The Effigy looks kind of familiar because it looks kind of like the FJ Holden. In their spare time and with limited funding, Richard and his team created a unique 21st century reincarnation. This is what 2011 would have looked like back in 1953. All the Effigy's bulbs are LEDs. It has electronic selection for the 4-speed auto, and it features a touchscreen sent to the future from Happy Days. So, underneath the body, it's a Corvette. And it's got a Corvette 6-litre V8 engine with an Australian-made supercharger on it. So not only does it look pretty terrific, it goes like stink. If I was allowed to drive it that way, which I'm not. How good's this, eh? Listen to that. That's great, isn't it? You really hear that supercharger.
Yeah, take it easy, mate. Take it easy.
Your average hot rod springs from the imagination of a bloke in his shed. He's often not formally qualified in design or engineering. All that he knows is he wants to make something beautiful. And Holden, with the Effigy, have taken that to a whole other universe, because this is the most beautiful hot rod ever made. And it's that way because it will never have to pass a crash test. It will never have to worry about emissions or luggage space. It is art on wheels. Now, some people can't stand Falcons and Commodores. They think they're all a bit oi, oi, oi. But they're missing the point. The size of our market and its budget constraints mean Australian designers and engineers are rarely given the freedom to fully express themselves. OK, so the fascinating thing about this car is that the VE Commodore, the one you buy from a dealership today, was done by Richard and his guys. They used pretty much the same process to design and develop this car. Australia can do it when they're given the chance, like Richard, to let his hair down. One of the goals of a concept, and one which Holden definitely achieved, is to create a car that makes people go, oh my God. OK, I'll admit it, I've completely lost my brain over this car, but I'm not the only one. You know, when it went to the States, it absolutely cleaned up every show over there, and the Yanks even gave it Best Hot Rod of the Year and Concept Car of the Year. Now, that's high praise from the people who invented hot rodding, and a lesson to the badge snobs among us who think the only decent designers are European. The Effigy hasn't just shown us how good we are, it's shown the world.
Crazy. That car is inconceivably fantastic.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. This is not a Ford or a Holden thing. This is not,
No, it's not at all.
Japanese, I only like European cars. If you can't call yourself a car lover and hate that car. That is car pornography, isn't it?
It's for the want of better terms.
Exactly
Yes.
right.
It's amazing. And the thing is, it actually drives quite normally because it's got a Corvette underpinning. But the thing about that car is it really annoys me that, you know, a lot of Europhiles out there, they just think if you're not German or an Italian, you can't be a good car designer. And the fact is, in Australia, we've got super talented Australian car
Oh,
designers.
absolutely. What was his surname again?
Palazzo, so
yeah,
what?
Palazzo, yeah. I mean, that's as Australian as, you know, Quattroventi, 4 and 20,
Yeah.
the pie makers.
Yeah. What do you have to say about that, Pizzardi?
Yeah, it is Australian as Pizzardi. Yeah, exactly right.
Anyway, earlier on in the show...